3dminiatures.com again here, and today for this tutorial I'm going to show you how to build an armature for sculpting miniatures. So what we have here is Florist Wire. You can get this at any large craft store in their floral section. It's used for wrapping or supporting artificial flowers. And this is a 22 gauge, which is heavier, and this is a 30 gauge, which is very lightweight. Now, normally make armatures, there's a variety of ways to do it. Some companies, they sell pewter armatures, but they're usually only like human size, or maybe they might have larger ones for things like ogres and giants. But if you've got to make a cow or animal or dragon, they won't necessarily suit your purposes. Some people, they make it out of copper wire and solder it together, but you have to have stiff enough copper wire, and you have to have a soldering iron, and it's kind of fiddly. I've tried it. So this is a method that I came up with. I don't know if anyone else does this. I've used it to sculpt several figures, classical, pushing putty sculpting. And you can use it, like the 22 gauge is great for larger beasties like giants or dragons, and the fine wire is good for your 28mm figures. And trust me, it'll be stiff enough once you get through applying this method. So here, example is a large armature suitable for, say, something like a giant. And if you look at him, he's quite large, and he's made from the 22 gauge wire, and you twist it to get it even stiffer. And then here's a piece of aluminum foil to bulk him out so you don't waste putty. And then I used the fine 30 gauge wire to lash that to the body. And the nice thing about the method is that when you're building it, you can worry about your proportions at almost the last step. So you can sit there and build all the limbs, and then you can sit there and fuss with it and get it right. So what you start with is you get yourself a length of wire, way longer than you think you're going to need it, because you're going to sit there and you're going to twist a whole bunch of things. So you're going to get yourself a long length of wire, and then you're going to basically find the ends and fold it in half. And you can't really see it too well, this is really fine stuff, but there is the end. You pinch that half and you begin twisting. You twist that for maybe for a 20mm figure, just to get you some room. You twist that for maybe about ½ inch, and then you take 2 side loops off, and don't worry if they're nice and long, just pinch off 2 loops and twist them a little bit at the base to get them going. And then you see you get them going here, and you keep twisting. And we don't care right now if they're too long. That's okay. We're going to take care of that when we start making the final preparations for the figure. And then we twist the other side, so then you have 2 arms. And then the leg, again, don't worry if it's too long. You're going to take that leg, and you're going to bring it back, and you're going to twist it up, just like the arms. And they're going to be longer. Now you're going to say, well, where is the torso? Where do I put the torso at? So you get both these things out, and you're going to have like a star, right? You have a short head, 2 longer arms, 2 long twisted legs, and you say, well, where do you put the torso at? Well, what you do then is you take the long, skinny, long bars that become the legs, and you twist those twisted legs together for the length you need the torso to be. So if you look on the giant here, this is 2 long legs that were coming out here, and I simply took the legs I had twisted and then twisted those together to make the torso. So when you're done, the torso consists of 4 strands of wire, and it's quite stiff and good. And then when you're done, you can say, okay, your head is a little long. Well, that's okay. You can fold it over and get a nice little loop that'll help hold the putty. And your arms are too long. Well, you sit there and you bend and pinch and fold them, and you go find a figure for a scale reference, and you stretch it out and you pose it, and then you can clip off the loops to length. And if you need, like, say, a weapon, you can wrap that little end around another piece of wire and super glue it, and you're ready to sculpt your weapon on there if you need to. And then the feet do the same thing. If they're too long, you sit there and you put the bends in for the hips, and you pose it, make his butt come out, push the hips farther forward, bend the thing for the legs, bend a point so you can use that to clamp in something, and then, trim off the excess. And this works equally good for making people, or if you need to make a dragon, then you would just work out more strands and twist those. So maybe instead of, 2 arms, you would have 2 arms, and just right almost below it would be 2 other arms that would become his wings, nice and long. And if you need to make it thicker or stiffer, you can always then wrap some more wire about it. And then the texture really does help the putty to stick. And if it still doesn't work, you can take like soak your armature briefly in hot soapy water, or take like a baby wipe and pull through the wire through it, and it'll help pull off any oil that this wire may have on it. And then to stiffen it even further, you can just take a very thin layer of green stuff, and then you can cut it away where you want the joints to be, and that will give you a nice little stiff armature that you can bend exactly at the joint you need. And it just takes a very thin coating of green stuff. But this allows you to make armatures in any shape you want, and I've used this method to sculpt, you know, Monsternomicon Crypt Fiend for my own collection. He has 4 arms and 2 legs and a long ropey neck. Any proportions, you just have to twist the wire, and then you, like I said, this guy's legs, you make the torso, he took the long legs, and I twisted them together, and that doubled it up to make the torso, and then I simply, when I'm ready, will trim the legs off. So there you go. You can use the thin wire for 28mm and the heavier wire for ogres and giants and other stuff. But there's how to make yourself some miniature armatures. 3dminiatures.com signing off. Thank you.